Hi, everyone. You found us again. Hey, welcome. Emil here. Emil Guillermo. Emil, Amok to you. How are ya? Get my sound all fixed up here. Hey, did you catch Elon Musk and Donald Trump? It's just, Elon Musk is contributing millions, tens of millions to the Trump campaign. You know that. So this was the softball of softballs. I mean, a guy's contributing tens of millions of dollars to your campaign. He's going to want to make you look good. And you're going to want to make him look good. It was I imagine them in a room of succulents, praising each other. But we saw the room. I mean, Trump was in Mar-a-Lago. I don't know where Musk was. And I only caught little bits because I was turned off by the 45 minutes of nothing, and then went away and came back for some of the highlights, but not really. One in particular that got me mad. But you knew that what was it going to be? It was a big ad for Donald Trump, courtesy Elon Musk, trying to save himself a few $1 million, saying, "Hey, look, I got a platform. Come on, I'll talk about it. I'll give you all the time in the world. I'll give you softballs. You want your softballs? Here's your softballs." And so he got softballs. We got softballs. And we got some crazy answers. But I think we learned more about Elon Musk, as if we didn't know everything we needed to know already, but a little bit about Donald Trump too. And I want to highlight one passage in particular where Elon Musk is talking to Donald Trump, and they're talking about Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And Musk is just saying, "Hey, like, what's so bad about it? Nagasaki, Hiroshima? I mean, can you imagine that?" I mean, and Trump is like nodding in agreement. Musk is suggesting that the use of the nuclear bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki was not that bad. Not that bad. Oh, yeah. All the dead, all the destruction, not that bad. Quote, Musk. Now they're like full cities again. Something that, it's not as scary as people think. Basically, end of quote. Elon Musk. A nuclear bomb attack. Not nearly as scary as people think. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine anyone? I mean, unless he's working on some kind of cleanup, some kind of digital cleanup, how can anyone who has a soul or has any kind of ethics even begin to say, "Oh, a nuclear bomb? You lose the cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, are fully functioning now. Not that bad." That's Elon Musk talking to Trump, and Trump is essentially nodding in agreement. That's the implication from what I'm hearing on that X. I keep wanting to say Twitter. Now, remember, this is Trump just sort of just nodding along. Remember, he could be president with the nuclear codes. And here he's talking to a man who is clearly influential. He's in Trump's head. He's saying, "Hey, Nagasaki, Hiroshima, oh, nothing. It's not, quote, it's not as scary as people think, basically. Says Musk to the man who, if he is president again, will again have the nuclear codes. Now, you tell me what's scary. What Musk just said, or the possibility of Trump having access to those nuclear codes once again. It is, I mean, that alone should scare you. Forget the idea, because it's almost like, is it a small thing that Trump wants to get rid of the Department of Education, and says it as much in the interview. And of course, getting rid of the Department of Education, that's right out of Project 2025, written by all the Trump acolytes, and it's basically the next Trump administration's playbook. Got the government, got the bureaucracy, the so-called deep state. I was always under the impression that the deep state people thought the deep state were like these what would they call them? Just people within the bureaucracy, but almost like spies. The deep state, like some sort of secret thing. But no, deep state refers to the entire bureaucracy of workers. Get rid of all those. They want to get rid of all the people who make the government actually run. So get rid of the Department of Education, which essentially means he wants to gut public schools. I saw something in one of the right-wing papers, or maybe it was in the Times, same difference, huh? But it was about how the public opinion on school vouchers has changed, where it's now like 60-70% who are for school vouchers, essentially school choice. And it's because the public education system is crap. So they would prefer to get their public monies, tax monies, directly to them so they can spend it wherever they want, including private schools. So you see what this whole get rid of the Department of Education is. It's the privatization of education. It's really the demise of public education in America, and the dumbing of the entire country. I mean, this country is where it is because of the greatness of public education past. It's where it is now because of where public education is today. And if Trump is election, public education would go further down the tubes. So that's another takeaway I got. I mean, you could just go at random throughout the entire 2 hours of that X interview with Elon Musk and pull out some nugget that would make you say, wow, is he serious about that? The Department of Education. No, of course it's in the Project 2025. So that was scary, but not nearly as scary as this whole idea of Musk and Trump. Can you imagine the good old boys talking, the billionaires talking about when to use a nuclear bomb? Because this is how people get things in their head about, nuclear bomb, we could use it. Look at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They're doing fine, said Musk to Trump in that X interview. I mean, he said, quote, now they're like full cities again. Something like that, it's not as scary as people think, basically, Musk said. I think that's pretty scary that you have the rich elite trying to influence the man who could be president again, and he shows in these interviews, these softball interviews, why he can't be president again. He cannot be president again. This is the guy who would possess the nuclear codes, and he's inside with Elon Musk, who is feeding his head saying, oh, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, they're like full cities again. It's not as scary as people think, basically. What's a nuclear bomb, right? All right, so that's why we should be concerned, right? We should be concerned by Trump and the Elon Musk interview. And as long as I think as long as Trump gives these shoot from the hip type of interviews with his millionaire buddies, I think Kamala Harris is fine doing what she's doing. I mean, she's not just living off the honeymoon vibe. She's telling you how she is going to proceed as prosecutor. What's missing are perhaps details, but it's still just August, and you're not going to get details at least until the convention or after. And you are actually going to get some details later on this week when she does an economic speech, according to some of the news that was released today. Here's the funny thing about right now, the big thing, Trump is upset because Kamala Harris has stole the no tax on tips idea, which is funny because a lot of Republicans hate the idea of the no tax on tip idea and say, come on, Donnie babe, let her have it. Let her take that. She's not stealing from you. You were stupid to say it in the first place. But here's the thing about Kamala Harris. She mentions it because naturally, no tax on tips is a kind of it's a feel-good worker thing, of course. And when she mentioned it, she wasn't stealing from Trump. It's not like anyone steals from any good ideas are good ideas. Hey, if you're on the same page on something, we should applaud that. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris on the same page on one issue, no tax on tips. But here's where Kamala Harris goes further. She wants to raise the minimum wage, which is all up and down wherever the state, whatever state you're in, but federally it's low and she wants to raise it up. I mean, it really is a middle class proposal, putting a floor on wages that will do more than what Donald Trump is planning for the middle class. The Associated Press did an analysis and said, even if both say they want to eliminate federal taxes on workers' tips, and a lot of people are confused about this, because I was just online, people said, does this mean like state taxes? Or no, there would be no federal tax. Some states don't have state tax, but they have other taxes. They might have a sales tax instead of a tax on tips. Or they might have we're talking specifically about federal taxes. But here's what the AP is reporting, that the reason that Congress hasn't made the change of no tax on tips already is that it would be complicated, not to mention enormously costly to the federal government to just to pull it off. Because according to this report, it would encourage many higher paid workers to restructure their compensation, to classify some of their tips or some of their income as tips to avoid paying taxes. It's seen by some as a loophole. And because of that, the consensus among the people consulted for this article is that it likely wouldn't help very many low-income workers at all. One guy who is at a business school, University of Michigan's Ross School of Business, said there's no way it wouldn't be a mess because of the complications involved. So I know if you're a service worker, and I know this was aimed mostly at places with a lot of service workers like Nevada. That's where it was announced. First by Trump, and then Kamala Harris said, yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'll see your no federal taxes on tips, and I'll raise you with a lowering of the minimum, or a raising of a minimum wage. So we'll see how all this fits in with where they stand on things like payroll tax funds, which funds are payroll taxes, which fund Social Security and Medicare. We'll see what some of their economic plans are, how middle class Kamala Harris really is, how upper class, how elite Donald Trump is in terms of his, well, we know his economic policies. He's just going to cut taxes for the wealthy, like Elon Musk, who is on bended knee on his own social media platform, which broke down for 45 minutes. You see, privatization. You can't rely on privatization. It breaks down. It breaks down all the time. When the rich men run it and the rich men have to tinker with it themselves, it's always going to break down. Oh, see it. That's what they say about public stuff. Public school education. Public workers. Can't rely on them. Ha! That was egg on the face of Elon Musk. And Donald Trump, too. I just don't know where Donald Trump goes from here. And a lot of his people are saying, what is going on? Republicans need some discipline. The Republicans who want to be competitive, Republicans who want a candidate, they may, well, I know they're not going to vote for Kamala Harris. I don't know what they're going to do. There's no real logical thing for them to do, Republicans, except hold their nose and vote for Trump, even though they kind of sense that he could be going down. Polls are coming out, swing states. It's not looking good. Not looking good for the Republicans. And the Democrats still have their big bump coming up from the Democratic National Convention next week. It's going to be the Democrats' greatest hits. It's going to be the Obamas, the Clintons, and a big portion for the man who made all of this possible, Joe Biden. Joe Biden's going to have his day. And then I think on the very first day, Joe Biden's going to have his day. And then it's going to be Walz and then Harris. And then you'll see the big bump. And then the campaign really starts, because early voting begins early September. And then the race is really on. And I mean, a lot of people, they say there are low information voters now who just don't care about a whole lot right now. I think that's most people. Most people are low information voters. Say July and August, stuff's happening at summer vacation. People are going to start paying attention. And maybe you'll see a big difference in the polls. Already, Harris is pulling up to even or better against Trump. Trump is still at the peak of his popularity ever. Since 2016, 2020, he's still right up there. But having a better candidate for the Democrats has improved so much that his best isn't enough to hold off Kamala Harris so far. We got a race. Pay attention. Our democracy's at stake. So we'll get back to more things I want to talk about. But I want to talk about a thing I'm doing on, let's see, how do I do this? I got to do it like this. Oh, yeah, here. I want to talk about my friend, Erilyn Hughes, who's a storyteller, and she's putting together a story show that includes me. It's called Meeting the Perfect Stranger. There you see her. We're going to be in Austin. We've never met face to face, although we know what each other looks like. I mean, look at us. She's known as the Queen of Weird in Austin. When Austin was good. When Austin was good. And we're going to have like a storytelling show. Moderator Amparo Garcia Crow, Ampy to her friends. She's a noted storyteller in the Austin area. She's going to introduce Erilyn to me. And I mean, I'm already married, so she's not going to, romance. I don't know. Maybe. I'm just saying that the whole intent of this show is to show the power of storytelling to bring people together. Because we've taken classes with Mike Daisy online. We've done shows online. We met during COVID. And now, COVID's over. Now we're going to meet face to face. I don't know what's going to happen. It should be, I think it'll show the power of storytelling to bring disparate voices, perspectives together. Although I don't think we're so disparate. But come see it if you're in Austin. Live show, Unity of Austin, September 3rd, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Behind the gas. They emphasize we're going to be behind the gas station. Let's see, I have to move. Let's see. Justice. There. Behind the gas station. That's where it's going to be. The show in front of the gas station is a different show. Totally different. But behind the gas station, that's where we're going to be. It's at the Unity of Austin. It's a church. It's, although no religion is offered. It's just story time. Storytelling with the Queen of Weird, my friend Erilyn Hughes, and myself, Emil Amok. Hey, scan the thing that you see there if you can, and get your information. Tickets $25 or donation. No one will be refused. No one will be refused for. I'm sure we can come up with something to refuse you, but until we do, no one is being refused. And I don't think this could be said about a place like San Francisco. There will be free parking. Free parking. That is something that would make people drive from San Francisco to Austin to see me. Live show, Unity of Austin, September 3rd, Tuesday. There's my friend, Erilyn Hughes. She says, meet the perfect stranger. That's what this is about. What this... it's kind of intriguing, isn't it? What's going to happen? Someone bring an inflatable just in case, we need a quick getaway or something. There's a river there, isn't it? That kind of inflatable. But no, it should be fun. It will be fun. Erilyn tells. I've always looked at her as a kind of Molly Ivins type. To me, that was Molly Ivins was a journalist. Erilyn's more like a homespun home ec teacher with advice. Mike Daisy always saw her as a kind of Andy Rooney type. We're essentially two curmudgeonly types who've been brought together by the internet. So definitely catch it if you can. It's a storytelling show. Live. Unity of Austin, Tuesday, September 3rd, 7 p.m. Scan that thing. Donations, 25 suggested. You can say, Emil, Come on. I was going to go with 50. I was going to go with 50, but if you insist, okay. Hey, no one, like I said, until we come up with an excuse, no one will be refused the opportunity to donate. September 3rd. Check it out. It'll be fun. Okay, here we are. Hey, so I wanted to talk about a few other things that caught my eye. Besides the Elon Musk thing, everyone's talking about the Elon Musk thing. And this I found interesting because I don't think people really think about this. Are you drinking much these days? There's a new study out. This is in the New York Times. Older adults do not benefit from moderate drinking. Older adults do not benefit from moderate drinking. Large study finds. And this is what's important. It's a large study. It's with humans. It's not with animals. I'd listen to this one. Virtually any amount of drinking increased the risk for cancer. And there were no heart benefits, the researchers reported. So if you're thinking, the red wine's good for my heart. Really? Really? The red wine is good for your heart? Large study, human beings, researchers find not good. In fact, as I said, I'm warning, this is a warning for older adults. Not that it wouldn't hurt if you're younger. By younger, I mean people in their 40s and 50s. If you refrained, I'm sure it would help you. But this is a decent study. Even light drinking was associated with an increase in cancer deaths among older adults in Britain, researchers reported on Monday in a large study, but the risk was accentuated primarily in those who had existing health problems or who lived in low-income areas. Now, that makes sense. I mean, if you're boozing it up, you're in a low-income area, that would tend to bias the results. If you had existing health problems and you were drinking, yeah, okay. Pre-existing reasons not to have alcohol. But here's where the study has some value. The study, which tracked 135,103 adults, not 104. That 104th guy was just sneaking in the, few glasses. He wasn't part of the study. He was a tester. Age 60 and older, 135,103 adults, 60 and older for 12 years. It also punctures the long-held belief that light or moderate alcohol consumption is good for the heart. The researchers found no reduction in heart disease deaths among light or moderate drinkers, regardless of this health or socioeconomic status when compared with occasional drinkers. That's pretty, it's like, hey, if you're looking to drink your way to heart health, forget it. It doesn't work. The study defined light drinking as a mean alcohol intake of up to 20 grams a day for men and up to 10 grams daily for women. In the United States, the standard drink is 14 grams of alcohol. Damn, that metric system. Didn't you find that true in the Olympics? Everything was in the metric mode, and you were saying, give it to me in feet. Please, please. Okay, turn it back to centimeters. It sounds more impressive. But here, the standard drink, 14 grams, and they're saying the defined light drinking is 20 grams a day. So that's like one drink. We did not find evidence of a beneficial association between low drinking and mortality, said Dr. Rosario Ortola, an assistant professor of preventative medicine and public health at Universidad Autónoma de Madrid, and the lead author of the paper, which was published in JAMA Network Open. I mean, this is significant because this is for people worldwide. I mean, they drink a lot. Wine at every meal. Oh, the red wine is good. It's good for the heart. You think this is going to be contentious here? It'll be contentious among the wine drinkers in Spain, Portugal, and France. Alcohol probably raises the risk of cancer from the first drop. That's what they also found. The findings add to a mounting body of evidence that is shifting the paradigm in alcohol research. Scientists are turning to new methodologies to analyze the risk and benefits of alcohol consumption in an attempt to correct what some believe were serious flaws in earlier research, which appear to show that there were benefits to drinking. Of course, those studies were probably funded by the alcohol companies, the beverage companies. And I dare say those other studies were probably funded or probably tested mice, not people. Or if they did test people, were such a small sampling that it wasn't conclusive. But here you're talking about a study which tracked 135,103 adults age 60 and older for 12 years. That's pretty conclusive. Headline again, older adults do not benefit from moderate drinking. Large study finds virtually any amount increased the risk for cancer. Virtually any amount. The moment you put a drop in there from drop 1, you raise the cancer risk. And there were no heart benefits, according to the researchers. I'm not trying to virtue signal here. I'm just saying, I'll have a light beer socially. I mean, I'd rarely go heavy. Maybe at someone's home, I might have a cocktail. But compared to me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe more like 15, 20 years ago, my drinking is non-existent. I mean, I'm practically a teetotaler. I have to admit I feel better for it, but I never bought drink the red wine, it's good for the heart. I never bought an occasional whiskey, any kind of spirit. Actually, when it comes to things like whiskey or gin or vodka, I'm more taken by the ads. I'm more taken by, social things. Oh, my friends are trying this cocktail or that cocktail. I've pretty much shut that down the last 5 years, where I'm just light beer, if anything, no drinking. And, I'm healthier because of that. Fun. There's still a fair amount of fun. But this is just something, you can look up the study yourself. And I mean, I think it's important just to know what the risks are. I mean, people see a pack of cigarettes and the label is there, but they smoke anyway. People know what the risks are for, at least I think, don't some alcohol brands have to put warnings for pregnant women? Now I think that's been I don't know I haven't seen any pregnant women drink. Well, not that I hang around a lot of pregnant women, but that's fairly established in people's heads that, if you're pregnant, you don't drink. But, socially, I think you just need to make an informed choice, right? I mean, I still have, like I said, an occasional beer. But when I have a mocktail, or when I have a non-alcoholic brew, I realize they give me the flavor, but essentially what I'm getting when I have an NA can, there's one brand I like in particular because it's really hoppy. But essentially it's just flavored cold water with no alcohol. But somehow there's still a little something. And that little something is enough to make me feel socially lubricated to a degree, not to this is like a debilitating degree, but enough to make me say, okay, this is fun for a social thing, but I just don't find myself drinking as much. I hope that, and I don't know what it is. I think just because I'm older or because I've remembered my drunken days, and there have been more than a few, when I know my body doesn't feel good afterwards, right? The hangover, or whatever happens, whatever you call the period afterwards. I know that sometimes when people, I know it's happened to me with food. Like, I'm vegan, and believe me, I was watching the Olympics. If you read my columns on the ALDEF blog, aaldef.org/blog, I was taken by the breakdancers. Fascinating. And I tried breaking yesterday. I'm still at top rock. I'm not at bottom rock. But it takes some, basically you get down on a push-up, and then you got to go to one arm, and then you got to twirl your legs to the front and then roll in the back. I mean, I get the concept. Man, what athleticism and strength. I think I'd like to see the pommel horse guy break dance. He probably could, but a lot of tumbling. Anyway, I just know that when I'm lighter and I don't eat as much, I feel like I could do it. I can do all that. Well, okay. I could do a beginner thing. But, you get older and you realize everything you put in your body, food, liquid, alcohol, if it doesn't help you, it has the potential to hurt you. And I'm just at that point where I'm more mindful about the stuff that I put inside me. So anyway, sorry to break the news about the study that shows older adults do not benefit from moderate drinking. Large study finds. But if you're a younger person, hey, drink up, wait till you're old, and then you'll see, Emil had something. He was right. So that's something that caught my eye. Here's another thing that caught my eye. And it has to do with immigrants becoming U.S. citizens at the fastest clip in years. I mean, it's just, this is when people say there's something wrong with our immigration system, it's a busted system. A lot of it has to do with backlogs. A lot of it has to do with the bureaucracy just can't handle the flow. But if you could, then you don't have all the backlogs at the office, at the borders, at the embassies, to have that constant. And no one else but Filipinos really knows about backlogs. The backlog from the Philippines is like obscene. I had cousins who came in the 2000s who waited 20 years or more because the backlog. I mean, that's how far back this idea of a backlog or a broken bureaucratic system, that's how long it has existed. It's existed for decades. So it's interesting that Donald Trump, when he talks about the border, the reason why we don't have a border, a border solution now. It's because Donald Trump said, no, no, no. I want to run on that to show how the Democrats aren't any good. When in fact, it was Donald Trump who prevented a bipartisan immigration package from going through to fix some of the broken system, not the system in its entirety. You need a major overhaul. So I was surprised when I saw this article saying immigrants are becoming U.S. citizens at fastest clip in years. The government has reduced the backlog of applications that built up during the Trump administration. New citizens say they are looking forward to voting in November. And maybe this is why the Trump administration created the backlog in the first place, because they don't want these new immigrants voting. You see, the Trump administration and other Republicans who are anti-immigrant miss the point. If they were helping these people, they can inculcate them to the American democratic or American political process and say, look who helped you. The good Republicans. I mean, this is why the Vietnamese are good Republicans, because the first Vietnamese who came here were members of the South Vietnamese Army. Refugees from the Viet Cong, from the North Vietnamese. And they came to Virginia, Northern Virginia, and they saw Richard Nixon as supreme. Richard Nixon was Watergate. Hey, Richard Nixon was supreme in the eyes of Vietnamese soldiers who are now fleeing, refugees, to America. They were inculcated and they learned that, hey, Republicans not so bad. Other people who may see ideas of mass deportation, all the other things. Oh, who's doing that? Republicans? Oh, can't be a Republican. Once again, Republicans just missing an opportunity to extend the arm, to help exiles, to help refugees, and say, hey, join us. And now the Biden administration is seeing all these people who've been backlogged by the Trump administration, and they're putting them through record clip, and they're looking forward to vote in November. The federal government is processing citizenship requests at the fastest clip in a decade, moving rapidly through a backlog that built up during the Trump administration during the Trump administration and the coronavirus pandemic. At ceremonies in courthouses, convention centers, and sports arenas across the country, thousands of immigrants are becoming new Americans every week and becoming eligible to vote in time for the presidential election in the fall. It's unclear how many of the new voters live in battleground states, but a number of the states where Kamala Harris or Donald Trump must win have large and growing numbers of voting age naturalized citizens, including Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. I would say Nevada for Asians is in particular very important because there's already existing Asians there. And I would say that if you're an immigrant on the backlog, you came here, went with relatives. Where were they? Nevada, key battleground state. In Savannah, Georgia, people from 19 countries streamed into a federal courthouse recently to take the oath of allegiance. My case was done in less than 6 months, said one, Gladys Brown, who's married to an American and immigrated from Honduras in 2018. Generally, lawful permanent lawful permanent residents. God, I gotta put my glasses on. Lawful permanent residents, known as green card holders, are eligible to become naturalized citizens if they have had that status for at least 5 years or have been married to a U.S. citizen for at least 3 years. So if you think that, oh, I'm married to a citizen, I'm automatic. Well, there's still a wait. 5 years if you're a green card holder, 3 years if you're married to a U.S. citizen. Then you can apply for citizenship. Green card holders have many of the same rights as citizens, but voting in federal elections is a right accorded only to citizens. And that can be a powerful motivation to pursue citizenship. You know, it reminds me of the 80s when Ronald Reagan was the president and my mom was still alive. My mom was a green card holder for almost all her life. My father used to lord it over. Oh, I can vote, you can. So my father was voting for two. My mother was like, she didn't care until Ronald Reagan cut her SSI. And when Ronald Reagan cut her SSI, oh man, she cared. She cared. And this has happened throughout the years. Whenever an administration makes a cut to SSI or to social services, man, it drums up support among, well, I know Asian American immigrants and green card holders, but I'm sure all the others, because being a citizen is the way to get your benefits. So this is happening, and isn't it funny? It's happening now during, elections coming up in a couple months, and people are saying, yeah, if I'm getting through this backlog, I can be a citizen in time for the election to vote my very first election to save democracy with whomever they choose. That's the importance here. And make no mistake, you got a guy like J.D. Vance talking about families. He's talking mostly about white families. He's not talking about all the other families that are out there. He's not talking about immigrant families. He's talking about birth rates, because that's what's going to solve the dwindling white population or population of Americans naturally not naturalized, but those born here in our country. I mean, that really determines all of that mega policy. Families, raising birth rates, because they're looking at the population, they see these immigrants, and they're freaking out. So interesting that this new push in the Biden administration is to get those immigrants in, get them in just in time to vote. So that's actually a good sign. Good sign. Read my column on the ALDEF blog, aaldef.org/blog. I talk about my experience, or what I felt as I watched the closing ceremonies of the Olympics on television. I mean, I was taken by it. It just made me realize how much we needed as a global community. We needed the Olympics in 2024. We needed to play with each other nicely. And I'm so bummed out that really the best event I saw was the breaking event. Now, don't call it breakdancing. I've already been corrected once, my friend. Don't call it breakdancing. Okay, breaking. It's phenomenal. Breaking. I was one of those who poo-pooed breaking. Breaking. That's not it. But I'll tell you that it's not rhythmic gymnastics. Breaking's for real. It's for real. And it's fun. It's cool. Snoop Dogg gives it his stamp of appeal. But one thing they're not doing is they're not bringing it back to LA, which is weird. I mean, I was wondering, well, where's baseball? Well, they're bringing baseball back to LA 2028. They're also bringing in cricket because cricket's a sport here in America now. You go out to some places where a lot of Pakistanis, South Asians. I saw some South Asians at an old mall, big parking lot in a mall. They're playing cricket in a parking lot of an abandoned mall. Well, not abandoned, but just a mall that's been, shut down because you got the space. Cricket. And it's mostly South Asian guys. I don't think I saw any girls. But this has been happening since 2000, about 20 years. And now, they've got cricket leagues formed here, mostly out of Dallas for some reason. But anyway, cricket's going to be an Olympic sport, but no breaking. And I'm starting a push to lobby the Olympic committees to bring breaking to LA. I mean, I'm surprised. Snoop Dogg opened up the ceremonies and, he opened up the first breakdance competition on, I guess it was on Saturday I saw it. And then I saw it on the finals with the men on Sunday. Man, it's athletic. And I was just mesmerized. People spinning on there. Mesmerized so much that I have begun doing a few moves. I mean, I don't know. My vertical is better than my horizontal, but what can I say? Catch the column on the ALDEF blog, aaldef.org/blog. Okay, that's it for me. Listen, catch me Monday through Friday here. We talk for a bit. 2 p.m. Pacific live on YouTube at Emil Amok 1. Twitter, we pop up. Catch us, don't catch us. Be one of a handful. Facebook, fb.com at Emil Guillermo or emilguillermo.media. We do this as, because we can. Because I've long been a talk host, but there's a lot of good news worth talking about now. I also want to mention, if you will, here, not there, not that. That, I guess, how about this? I'm trying to find the right, there. The right configuration. I want to mention my live show again, Unity of Austin, Tuesday, September 3rd. There on your screen, you can scan for the details. It's a 7 p.m. public storytelling show. My friend and I, Erilyn Hughes, known as the Queen of Weird. We haven't met, so we're going to meet. We're sort of perfect strangers, and we're meeting for the first time and telling stories about how we met, our lives, how our lives have connected through story. Ampro Garcia Crow will be introducing us, and it should be fun. Erilyn is a hoot, known as Austin's Queen of Weird. Unity of Austin, it's a church, so it's got to be sacrilege. Tuesday, September 3rd, 7 p.m. in Austin. Scan that barcode, free parking, donation, $25 suggested. It's sort of like the sliding scale at the Kamala Harris fundraiser in San Francisco the other day, where it was, I think the sliding scale was $3,300 to $500,000. Sliding scale. $3,300 to $500,000. Are you kidding me? Sliding scale. This is a real sliding scale. $25 or any donation. No one will be refused unless we can think of a good excuse. So give us some time, and maybe we'll come up with something. And that's it. That's it. We like to end with a little meditation. Because, meditation, that's what keeps me from going amok right here. Right? I just calm down, relax, release, let go. It helps. It's funny. I'm older now. And I used to think, oh, man, relax, release. What are you talking about? You going to sleep? You got to fight. No, you got to calm down. You can have energy. You can have passion. You don't need the aggression. You can be soft and hard at the same time, I think. Anyway, so we like to close with a little metta, little loving kindness, the simple prayer. Sharon Salzberg taught it to me. I was in a class. She said, here, this will help you. It'll keep you from punching that guy in the face. And so, as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo here. Till next time.